And here's the project we're going to do today, and this one I am calling Nature Walk. And several stamps were used in this project. This is from the Stampscapes Nature Sheet 8. This is Stampscapes Nature Sheet 4. This is also Nature Sheet 4. This one is Stampscapes 433B, 432B, and this one is from the Stampscapes Nature Sheet 4. And these little set of trees is from the Nature Sheet 13. And then for making a scene, these little grasses here are M1026B. The mountains are T2052H. These trees down here, this is T8178F, T8186D, and the little roadway is T12281G. And the art impression stamps I used, the little grass is from the 4051 set. The big flower bundle is 4868, and the little flower bundle is 5009. And these are the different inks and other materials that were used. This was stamped on chrome coat paper, cut to 5x7, and I'll have all this information in the description of the video. So let's begin. Okay, I'm going to use my stamping platform to stamp out all the major stamps, and to just double check that I have the positioning correct before I commit it to my cardstock. I have a piece of laminated grid paper here, and the piece I'm going to do is going to be a 5x7 piece. And so this piece of cardstock is bigger than that, but it can still tell me how good I am going to do. So I will go ahead and stamp all my stamps onto this laminated piece of paper. And I think I like the placement of everything, so I'm ready to commit to stamping the real thing. But what I will do first is take my stamp chamois and just wipe this off. Okay, I've cut a 5x7 piece of chrome coat paper, and I'm going to put it in my Stampin' Up! Stamping platform, and I'm going to use some Memento Tuxedo Black, and I will stamp the ladies. Okay, and I've created a couple of masks for these ladies. Okay, next I'm going to stamp the large tree just with some Memento Tuxedo Black. And I'm going to put a Misty Creative Corner in, and next I am going to stamp these two trees. I've also created masks for these trees that I just stamped. Okay, and I'm back in the corner now in my stamping platform, and I will stamp these trees. Okay, and then I've created masks. Okay, next I'm going to stamp the path here. Then I'm going to stamp the canyon here with some Memento Rich Cocoa. Now I'll remove all the masks. Okay, for the sky I'm going to color it with some London Fog, Summer Sky, and Bahama Blue. Okay, next, Summer Sky. Okay, and then Bahama blue. Okay, now I'm going to put some Memento Tuxedo black. Okay, and now we'll do Memento Gray Flannel. Okay, for the mountains I'm going to use Desert Sand, Toffee Crunch, and Rich Cocoa. And I noticed when I stamped originally with the Rich Cocoa, there's some pretty dark splotchy points here. I don't know if I'll be able to take care of that, but I'll start with the Rich Cocoa. Okay, and now I'll do some Desert Sand. Okay, I'm going to restamp this. So I'm going to put my masks back on my trees. Okay, I want to see if I can get rid of this blotchiness. And I don't want to be quite so dark as the Rich Cocoa, so I'll do the Toffee Crunch. I don't know why, but the stamp seems to be stamping really blotchily. The ink is blotting up. And I don't quite understand why that stamp is doing that. Okay, now I'm going to do the Toffee Crunch. Okay, and then I'll add a little bit of Rich Cocoa to the very darkest areas. Okay, for the grass on the ground, we'll start with some Memento New Sprout. Okay, next we'll do bamboo leaves. Okay, and now some northern pine. Okay, now I will add some color to the trees by just randomly putting on some of these different colors. This one is bamboo leaves. And then Toffee Crunch for the trunk. and a little bit of northern pine. Now I'll put in my creative corner to do these two trees here. And now a little bit of northern pine, just. Okay, I'm going to give these trees a chance to dry, and then I will put a mask on them and stamp these two trees. And now I will remove the masks and let it dry. Okay, for the lady drinking the coffee, I'm going to do her jacket with YR23, YR24, and YR27. And for her shorts, I'll go with B24. And I'm going to use a little bit of colorless blender where it's kind of coming over the line. And I'll do her hair with Y26 and Y23. And I'll use E01 for her skin. And EO2 in the darker parts of her skin. And her coffee cup, I'll do W3. Okay, and the lady sitting down, I'm going to use B21 and B24 for her dress. And we'll use EO1 and EO2 for her skin. Okay, for the rocks, I'm going to use some E31 and E34. Okay, and I'll use a little bit of N6 and N4 for this lady's hair. And I'll also put some E37 on the rocks, the dark spot of the rocks. Okay, I'm going to use my Art Impressions small grass and some bamboo leaves. Okay, and now I'll use some northern pine. And I'll use some of this E37 to add a little more color to the trunks of these trees. Okay, now I'm going to put it back in, and I'm going to put a little quilting square in here to offset it quite a bit. And I am going to stamp this big limb. So I will start with stamping with some black. Now I'll stamp with some bamboo leaves. And now I'll do some northern pine. Okay, and I'm going to use the large flower bundle from Art Impressions, and I'll use some Memento rosebud And I am only going to ink up the flower portion of the stamp and not the stems. And I'll use the smaller one, and this time I'm going to use Lilac Posies. Okay, and I'll use my Northern Pine again, and the small grasses. Okay, now I'm going to use my white gel pen just to add some highlights. Okay, I don't like this glob right here, and so what I'm going to do is I am going to put in these little trees so that it hides that glob, and I want to make sure that they're straight, and just so that I can check its positioning, I'm going to put my acrylic plate from my stamp positioner on so that I can stamp these little trees. Okay, that looks like that will be pretty good to hide it. So I will add my mask for that tree. All right, like this. And then I will ink up these trees. And next I'll do bamboo leaves on the leaves and coffee crunch on the trunks. And I will do some northern pine. Okay, and I want to reground those new trees, so I'm going to use some northern pine and my small grass. And I'll put some E37 on the trunks of those trees. And I'll put some highlights. Okay, now I'll use these grasses for making a scene, and I'll use my northern pine ink again. Okay, and I got some of the brown from the mountain up in the sky here, so I'm going to use some of my Hero Arts Unicorn White Pigment ink. And I will use my Fantastics applicator. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make some clouds up here. And I forgot to color her boots, so I'll use the YR27. I will also want to add a little bit of shadow beneath these two, so I'm going to use some C3, C5 instead. And actually, I think I'll use some C6 even to get it a little darker. And now I'm going to sign and date it, and I'm going to wait for the pigment ink to completely dry before I spray it with the acrylic coating. Okay, the pigment ink is dry, so I'm put it in this box, and I'm going to take it outside, And I'm going to put some of this Krylon UV resistant clear acrylic coating on it. And since there's quite a bit of pigment ink, I'm going to put about 4 very thin layers on and let it dry completely in between the layers. And when I'm finished, we'll be back. And here's the final product after it's been sprayed. And I hope you've enjoyed the video. Bye.